How's everyone doing? This is Mr. Elsasser. We're going to be going over the lab today. So first and foremost, remember lab safety is important. You guys learned about lab safety the other day. Make sure you have your goggles, hairs pulled back, okay, sleeves rolled up, and that you are ready. So we're going to begin by looking at our lab. You wrote the procedures down after this video, but we also have procedures on paper, okay? When we do our lab, we have our lab report that will be with us. This is all you're going to need is a lab report, materials, and something to write with. So we're going to start by measuring out 40 milliliters of acetic acid. So we have this thing called a graduated cylinder. What we're going to do is we are going to pour in very slowly. We're going to pour in the acetic acid until you get to about 40 milliliters. If you're a little off, that's okay, but we want it at 40. You have a line going across here, and you can see it right in there. Looks like we're a little low. And that should be good, right about there. So there you are, 40 milliliters. And then what we're gonna do once we have done that is we're gonna take our acetic acid and we are gonna be adding it to our bottle. And again, pour it in slowly. So there you have it. So that's our first step. Next up, we need to get the sodium bicarbonate. Now with sodium bicarbonate, remember, once it mixes with here, we do have a reaction. We know this from last week. So we are gonna separate it by putting it inside of a balloon. So each one of you will have a balloon. You can try to stretch out the top a little bit because this balloon will be going over the top of our bottle. What you're gonna use is a funnel, much like this, and you are gonna add 1 spoonful of sodium bicarbonate to it. So you get 1 spoonful. This is probably easier with 2 people rather than 1, but I'm gonna go for it anyways. 1 spoonful, we're just gonna dump it in. Now you'll notice it kind of gets stuck. And if that happens and it gets stuck, you can use your paper clip to kind of push it in. Now, don't push the paper clip all the way in because we don't want to poke a hole in our balloon, but you can use it just to kind of loosen up sodium bicarbonate. And now, as you can tell, our sodium bicarbonate is safely inside the balloon, okay? So once we have it into the balloon, our next step, we need to attach it to the top of the bottle without mixing it. So we have to put this on over without pulling the balloon on top of it. So what you do is you kind of put it off to the side like this, and you just put it over the top. Now you'll notice the balloon is on here. You might want to get it just below the ridges on the bottle if you need to, but this is what we have now, okay? So once you've done this, before our next step, we're gonna write down any observations of what we see here, okay? So on your paper, you'll notice in the observation section, it does have a before section here, so this is what you're gonna draw. This is what it is. And you can label it. We have our balloon, our sodium bicarbonate, and then of course, our acetic acid down in here. So next step, we need to get the mass before the reaction. So remember, we're focusing on conservation of mass. So we're gonna get our mass before the reaction. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna gently take the bottle over to our digital scales. We'll have them set up throughout the classroom. So before you measure it, you need to make sure that it's at 0. So right now ours is a little off. So all you have to do is press this button that says 0. And now it's zeroed out. Now it's ready to measure. Once you've done that, you're gonna put this on here and you're gonna wait for the number to stop. Whatever that number is, you're gonna write it down in the before section of your data sheet right here. Okay, so that's our mass before the reaction. All right, so next up is the fun part. We get to mix it all together. So the way it's gonna work, you're gonna wanna make sure you have this snugly in place, and then all you're gonna do is you are going to be careful to take the balloon and we are going to lift it up so that the sodium bicarbonate falls in. Gotta move it over a little bit, there we go. Not fall off the side. Oh, and there we go. As you can hear, mine has air coming out the side because I did not, probably a hole in here, but doesn't matter what you're gonna get. When you guys do it, your balloon hopefully will not have a hole like mine does. Clearly has a hole in it. But yours will do what it's gonna do. Now, once you've done that, you are actually gonna be drawing what happened during that reaction because you saw all of that stuff that happened there, that occurred, and you're gonna be drawing and describing what happened there during the reaction, okay? So once we've done that, one of the things you might wanna do with your balloon will likely be filled up, not like mine, but you're just gonna swirl it around, make sure everything's reacted, just like that. All right, so after that has been done, your next step is to get the mass after the reaction. So again, your balloon will be filled up, unlike mine. And we're gonna go back over here, and you are going to, again, make sure it's at 0, and then measure it for your after reaction. Now mine clearly is gonna be off because, well, I had a hole in my balloon. But once you have that, you write that down. Then after the reaction, you are also gonna draw what the bottle looked like after everything happened. So the during part, you're gonna have a drawing of what the reaction looked like. The after part, what it looked like when it was done. Okay, so, and make sure everyone in the group gets everything written down during that time. Once you are done, your final step is to clean your materials. So in this step, we do not need to clean our funnel, so you can leave it. Our beaker of sodium bicarbonate is perfectly fine. This graduated cylinder, even though it has acetic acid in it, it is only going to be used for acetic acid throughout the day. Do not clean this. Of course, if there's any extra acetic acid left over, you can leave that. The one thing that needs to be cleaned is our bottle. Now, unless your balloon has a hole in it, the balloon should be perfectly fine. So you can remove the balloon, and you can return it back to your box, okay? It is still usable for the next class, unless there is something that went wrong with it. We do need to clean out our bottles. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna return to your sinks, and you are going to clean out the bottle. You can rinse it out, swirl it around, make sure everything gets out of there for the next class. We're not too worried about drying it, but we do want to make sure it's completely cleaned out, so swirl it through. Make sure everything gets down the drain. Once you are done, you turn it back to your box, and you are done. Good luck.